All right, how's it going, everybody? Today, what we are going to do is we're going to do the first cast of the first tournament that StarCraft Underground is currently hosting. So, StarCraft Underground, real quick, if you're unfamiliar with what it is, you should check it out. We're on Discord. We have some posts up in Reddit and some of the other Discord servers that exist for StarCraft 2 and Brood War. And essentially, what it is there's a series of tournament brackets like you see before you that are always being filled out, right? So as a bracket gets filled out with 8 to 16 players, then immediately another tournament is generated, and every round, each pairing has 1 week to schedule and complete their matches, right? Like the intent here is that there's flexible scheduling, and as you go, if you get to the end, you level up and you go into an increased difficulty of bracket. So that's kind of the general premise. With this being the first tournament and a Brood War tournament at that, there's a lot of skill disparity, right? So we're going to go ahead and test what casting this looks like, what capturing some of these matches looks like. But just be aware that some of these matches, there has not been any promotions into higher brackets yet. So we have the best of the best with some of the worst, and some of the matches may play out that way. So today what we're going to look at is one of the very first replays that were submitted, and it's right up here in round one, and it is going to be the match between ManShark and Iamsacul. So we'll do the whole series. And then we'll probably just make subsequent videos for each of the other matchups. And there is tons of content and matches ready to be casted and uploaded. So if you're someone that's interested in StarCraft casting, please reach out on the Discord, because there's so much that it would be very time intensive for just myself to do it. And I'm not very good at StarCraft, so I'm probably not the best person to even talk about these games in a knowledgeable fashion. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into this match. So this is the first match. This match is between ManShark in the top right as the Terran and Iamsacul in the bottom right as the Protoss. And before I kick it off, I think what I'll do is I'll just show the map, right? So right now we are on Polypoid, right? So in this league, every week, every tournament that is generated does have predetermined maps. So there was no veto process. There's no kind of gaming the system in that way. So in this series, the best of threes are Polypoid and then two other maps, and you'll see as we go through the series how those get generated. So let me go ahead and turn this back off. Let's go ahead and unreveal the map. And then also let's get a little bit of StarCraft music going again. And let's get this thing on the road. So right up here in the top right, this is ManShark. He is a Terran player. And you can see, just everything's kind of going as normal. ManShark and Iamsacul have never played before. So this is the first time that they're playing. This was, as far as I recall, the very first match of the StarCraft Underground League, right? So as of right now, as the recording of this video, there's actually I think 5 tournaments going on. Maybe only 4, but there's at least 3 Brood War tournaments that are ongoing with many of the same players, because you can be in multiple brackets at the same time. In addition to a StarCraft 2 bracket that's going as well. And it seems to be a lot of fun. It seems to be growing very rapidly. And like I said, as every bracket fills up, there's just another one that's open for signups. And with the same people joining the same brackets until there's promotions, there's a lot of opportunity for replay opportunities against the same players. So like, for example, if ManShark, which is me, spoiler alert, I'm the terrible Terran in the top right, absolutely awful at Brood War. But like, if I'm going to play Iamsacul again, then I have these replays and this content to actually look back on, right? I can look at these build orders, I can prepare for that match, and I think that's really exciting. And I think that there's a lot of learning opportunities that exist as people continue to play in this league. So right now we do have a scout going out for Iamsacul. He sent it out around 10 or 11. And he is going to be going clockwise to the bottom left location on the map first, poking out, trying to find ManShark. ManShark is sending his scout out, it looks like, around 12 supply. See which direction it ends up going. Now this one is a little tricky from a casting perspective. This is kind of like a test cast. One, it's me, right? And two, I know the results, right? I know kind of what was going on. In the future casts, I don't plan on watching these beforehand. I don't want to know any kind of spoilers, so to speak. I want to be able to see it for just what it is, fresh for the first time. Get that excitement, get the freshness of what's going on and seeing the skill levels, right? Like I know how bad I am at Brood War. No idea, prior to this match, the skill level of Iamsacul. So we'll be able to see how this plays out. Right now, we do have the probe kind of following in the footsteps of the SCV. SCV does look to be heading cross spawn, so it looks like ManShark went top left, then going cross spawn, kind of a Z formation or backwards Z S formation, and is going to see and spot this Zealot. So Zealot heading up early. Not a whole lot here for ManShark. There is one Marine, and it does look like another Marine on the way. And so this probe and this Zealot parked outside the base. Now, we don't see anything crazy going on in the Protoss base. We do have a Dragoon coming out. Dragoon range is on the way. Dragoon range, always a pain in the butt. We do get up here just in time to see the Marine go down. I'm not sure if that was two Marines. I think that was two Marines that was just killed by the Probe Zealot combo. Just showing a little bit on the skill level of ManShark here. Now, some really tricky SCV, if you want to call this micro, more like just a gaggle over here while the Marine sticks out to the side so that the Zealot can kill it effortlessly. Oh, man. And trust me, if you're in this league and you're watching this and you're like, man, James is, or, ManShark's really mean to ManShark. Well, ManShark's me, right? And as I cast other people's games, I'm not going to be so harsh. But we do have a Vulture come out. We do have the SCVs kind of try to get a little bit in the way, try to body block a little bit this Dragoon, this Zealot, and try to get a pushback, right? We do have the Marine and Vulture, and with a huge clump of SCVs that is just absolutely tanking ManShark's economy here with delayed mining time, is going to push this Protoss force into the natural. That pesky Zealot does go down, but now we got two Dragoons and this lovely probe just pushing right in. That range is about to finish up. That's about to be a whole lot more of an issue for the Protoss, or I'm sorry, for the Terran, as the Protoss is able to, just be able to have that much more standoff and just continuing to do damage on these SCVs. We'll see if he ends up picking off a couple more of these. Now, just one really unhealthy Marine here for ManShark. Supplies are still pretty even, but a lot of that's just tied up in workers for ManShark. And for Iamsacul, he's already getting his second base right now, right? And with just a steady flow of Dragoons, I don't even know what this SCV is doing here. He's just picking flowers and keeping an eye on things. ManShark does start getting this bunker constructed, but really, at this point, there's not even any Marines. And this is ManShark trying to GG, but so frustrated saying LL instead of LOL GG. So that's going to bring us to the conclusion of this match. And let me go ahead and pull up the next one for us, and we'll see what the next game in this series looks like. So ManShark kind of struggling there against Iamsacul. And we'll go ahead and get into that next round. So, pretty painful loss there. That was the very first round of the tournament. That was kind of the champagne on the ship, the initial voyage or whatever it's called. Let me go ahead and get this replay loaded. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Now, we do have a second game. Now, if I'm not incorrect, no. Okay, so there's so many brackets that I'm actually getting games a little bit mixed up. So right here, you do see kind of in the 3 o'clock position, Iamsacul playing Protoss, ManShark in the 11 o'clock position in kind of this nice olive drab green playing the Terran. So ManShark coming off of a humiliating loss in which he had basically SCVs just running around in circles, doing effectively nothing. Got taken out by about 4 Dragoons and a Zealot. So, and in my defense, gosh, I loved playing these games though, but I had not played Brood War in probably like 15 years, right? But joining these brackets has really reinvigorated it for me. This was one of the first games I played remastered on. That's how long it's been since I've even opened up Brood War. So this has been a really fun time, and the Brood War community that has come over to StarCraft Underground, there's just been so many of them, and so many of them are so skilled. A lot of them, being a part of the CPL League, the Coach Pupil League, and some really, really highly skilled players. And I look forward to learning from these games and, learning from the players within the Discord server. So if you haven't played Remastered, or if you haven't played Brood War in years and years and years, now's the time to get into it. Go ahead and, I would join the server. Just go in, look for some practice games, and you'd have a good time. Anyway, we do have that Probe Scout coming out again, just kind of around that 11 supply mark. Got Iamsacul checking things out. It does have a gateway in production. Up here for ManShark, we do have the refinery and barracks going down. And I think I didn't mention what the map name was. I think this is Dominator, if I'm not mistaken. Again, get the guy who has played like 5 Brood War games in the past 2 decades to cast this. But yeah, so anyway, we got the probe sitting up here in the natural expansion. Oh, and that's kind of a cool thing about the maps too, as we talk about the maps and kind of the brackets and how there's so many of them. The predetermined maps, they're the same for the entire bracket, right? So like as I play Iamsacul, the same maps are kind of laid out. It was Polypoid, Dominator, and Death Valley, I think is number 3 for the best of 3s. But it's going to be the same case for the next opponent that each of us face in the winner and loser bracket. All the way until the finals, at which point the finals will be a best of 5, and there will be 2 more maps that are added to that. So, very exciting. And double elimination too, so everyone in the brackets at least get to play 2 opponents. Now, Marine out here is going to be keeping this probe at bay. A little bit of a safer kind of situation, going for the factory. ManShark definitely on edge, waiting for that Zealot to come in, right? Now this over here, this isn't anything fancy. When I was playing, I had just like clicked and like shift clicked to all the base locations. So I don't even know at this point. I think this probe was so distracting to me, and the fear of just being completely ran over by a Zealot and like 2 Dragoons. I don't even know if I noticed that my SCV had even scouted. Like that's how bad things were. So if you're part of SC Underground and I'm playing you in Brood War, keep an eye on this game. Really analyze this replay because you're getting some good intel on me. Now, at this point in time, I do have an expansion going down here at the natural, floating the barracks up. What I'm trying to do here is get a little bit of this wall going. Right now, if you haven't played Brood War in a long time, if you're an SC2 guy, walling off in SC2 is great. It is so powerful, and it's also really easy to accomplish. You have that grid, that beautiful grid of squares when you place a building that really just shows, what can and can't get through. And it's very easy to construct, right? It even shows you the buildable areas and the unbuildable areas. In Brood War, like, this can be a gap that can fit some units and not others. This could be a gap, this could be a gap. If you put a supply depot up here versus down here, it does different things. So that's definitely one of the big takeaways for me when trying to play Terran in Brood War is maybe play around in some maps and figure out how to wall off properly. Now, these 2 SCVs are here, anticipating that Dragoon range, which is under production right now. But my thought process on when that would be kind of available, was a little bit misguided, especially with this expansion happening. Now, I didn't check. I didn't go back here to actually see this expansion, so I think I'm aware of it through just assuming. But now we have these Dragoons kind of parked out. So like where my mind's at is, okay, when is this range going to happen? Is he going to be able to hit this? Can I get some tanks up in time to help push this away? and all the while trying to figure out like how much do I need to push back 3 Dragoons because I don't have that entirely figured out. So that's kind of what's going on here. We do have the armory going down. This is going to allow us to start getting those mech upgrades, but also get a couple of Goliaths, right? Because something about this map, this low ground, and this huge kind of area right here in the bottom of this base and up here in the top of this base, it really allows for drops, right? And so like having some Goliaths can really help try to prevent some drop action that's going on here, but also, you know, just upgrades. Now, speaking of upgrades, that range is going to be finishing up here for Protoss. It does look like Iamsacul. It has a nice little pylon wall being generated. You also see some robo stuff going on. So shuttle already out is going to be loaded up with a couple of zealots, and we see that Reaver in production, which is going to be a major pain in the butt. Now, this is, you know, inexperience right here. I do believe that with the Marines in this and the 3 Vultures and the tank and even these idle SCVs here, that is more than enough to push away these 3 Vultures, right? Like, just get out of here. Somehow I screwed up, lose a Vulture, another one gets pretty jacked up. I think I come over here and repair it. This game happened like 1 or 2 weeks ago, by the way, so I'm just kind of trying to remember. But yeah, like overall, I've got plenty. I'm just not asserting myself on the map at all. Pretty garbage, actually. And now we have a third going up for our wonderful Protoss player, Iamsacul. Now, we do see a shuttle. Look at this. I was just talking about how drops over here are like a bad thing, right? And how this can open up some opportunity for Goliaths. I did misremember that. I was not getting Goliaths at this point, but I did have some missile turrets, right? So I did understand that the timing for Reaver drop is a threat around 6:30, right? And sure enough, you know, I wasn't even ready at 6:30, and at 7:20-ish, this Reaver comes in and absolutely starts demolishing all of the workers over here. Like, look at this shot. Boom. Just taking them out. Look at this. 28 to 42. ManShark, come on. Fix yourself. So now we're going to see these Reaver Scarabs just, you know, this tank actually tracked that Scarab all the way back to hit both at the same time. We've got 3 tanks with drunk drivers here just doing donuts over here while this SCV is trying to hold on. And somehow those 2 Zealots and that Reaver just annihilated pretty much everything here in the base. Now, I think this does get cleaned up. Super slow response, way over fearing this from the game prior. But just an absolute mess for ManShark here. And so eventually Iamsacul tries to show some mercy. You know, he parks the shuttle up here. I have nothing that shoots up. There's some Marines in here, but I don't think to take them out. And he just kind of drifts away while he starts macroing back up. You can see the production tab up here start going kind of haywire. He does start getting some shuttle speed, which will only enable him to do more Reaver drops more effectively. And you do see, you know, some of the Goliath production starting here, but still only stuck on two factories. Don't have crap for workers. You know, the supply is it's pretty far, and a lot of this is because, you know, Iamsacul got 3 saturated bases, and now he's starting to flow some Dragoons, right? Like those 3 Dragoons that were here is actually becoming a little bit of a problem, a little bit of a force, especially with the slow economic development here from myself. So we do have some mines going here. This was something I kind of wish I had thought about a little bit earlier as I had some of these Vultures. I don't think they had all expended their mines here in this crappy little defense that's actually probably more dangerous to my own units than to his. But having these available around that 630 mark as well would have been very helpful, right? Especially in the absence of the turrets and the poor placement that they originally were placed in. These mines could have made very quick work of that Reaver. Now, if you think back to when that drop actually happened, though, and I don't know if this was intentional or just the order that they were in the shuttle, but the Zealots came out first. So I don't know if these would have been terribly effective, but the Zealots would have come down and at least gotten wiped out. And that would have helped with that crappy siege tank driving around that was going on. So Iamsacul. He has unloaded his shuttle. He's got 2 Reavers out here. Now there's a couple of siege tanks that are actually sieged as siege mode has been researched. A little bit of a factory explosion here from ManShark, getting up to 5 factories, and does have upgraded vehicle weapons on the way. Which, you know, right now there aren't upgrades for the Protoss army. but plenty of money and plenty of time. Now these Reavers are just absolutely just lobbing scarabs up in here and doing work on keeping me contained. So second armory going down to try to help with upgrades. Probably not the best prioritization of what to do. And you can see the supply here is just astronomically. Like, the game is already lost. This is me playing it out, trying to figure out what it takes and how to move out of this position. As I imagine, I'll find myself in this position a lot as I face higher skilled opponents in this bracket. And what I'm learning as playing Terran in Brood War, it's just so different than StarCraft 2, right? Like, you're kind of slow moving. You got siege tanks, which are your bread and butter, but you got to position them well. You need to unsiege them and siege them well. Nothing, between vultures and tanks shoots up. So how do you have your missile turrets? So very educational experience for me thus far. We do have another factory going down. Obviously, 6 factory on 2 bases. Probably not the best thing, especially with only 43 workers. I didn't know that turned off my vision. That's good to know. And now we're seeing kind of like this Dragoon push, right? So they've been shooed away a little bit, but honestly, Iamsacul has nothing to worry about. He's got plenty of production. We see his upgrades underway at this time. And he's just building up. He's just powering up. He's maybe going to take another base down here with this probe, down at the 6 o'clock position. But he doesn't really need to. He's got a good amount of minerals back home. He's got his natural. He's got an enormous ground force going on here. And what he's operating out of, he's got 7, 10, 11. Was that 11 gateways? So 11 gateways. He's got his double forge going in overtime. And he's got his other army up here, which I'm unreasonably scared of at this time. But I do make a move, right? So at some point I have to break out, and I know that. So I do go up here for this 12 o'clock base. What I didn't notice at the time was this observer. And so that observer is going to watch all of this happen. He's posturing. It looks like he's probably just getting his control group squared away, getting ready, getting positioned with his zealots kind of like towards the front. And I'm expecting a push, right? I haven't been able to scout. I've been saving my scans. I think what I was doing that for was an overabundance of caution for DTs, right? I had seen Reavers come in. What I was concerned about next was some sort of DT push. Now, I've got towers everywhere, turrets everywhere. So I'm worried about all the wrong things. And that's okay, because this league's about learning, and I'm learning a lot. Now, the observer is watching all of this go down, right? Not sure if the observer can see these mines, but it doesn't really matter. This army is gigantic, and so he's just going to walk up. A little bit of inefficiencies here. Nice little valley where these tanks are just firing at the army, getting some good hull damage. Good, mines are being triggered, but it does take out the CC. I believe that was a cancel. The money kind of also supports that. I think that was a canceled CC, and then I ran the SCV over here to get out of the way in hopes I could come back and rebuild it. Slip the vultures out. This was more micro practice than anything. I mean, we got the 4th base for Iamsacul, proving how cool he really is. I think I run in here, maybe kill 1 or 2 probes. And that felt really good for me. This was a success. I don't even think I killed a unit in the last game. And if I did, maybe it was like a zealot or 2. And so, just poking in here. Meanwhile, continuing to rally. Tanks get upgrades. Upgrades are coming in at a very fast clip for the Protoss player. You can see here, we already got 1-1. Sitting here, 1-1. Just finishing up. And then we have High Templar starting to get made and Storm on the way as well. So combine that with a little bit of, cannons as I'm trying to get Friskies. Just going to shut that down real quick. Make sure that none of my vultures can do anything. And we're starting to see a little bit more of a complex army here. We already have Reavers. We've got tons of Dragoons. More Zealots than is possibly needed. Like these vultures need to be out here with mines. This choke here probably shouldn't have been where I put the tanks, but rather where the tanks should have been oriented around as an engagement zone. So right here, you just get to witness this Protoss Iamsacul absolutely just walk through here, and I imagine we're gonna be getting the GG soon. Yeah, there it is. So GG, that was a lot of fun. And so what that leads us to, right, is back to this bracket. So we see up there at the top, we see myself and Iamsacul. We were and these seeds are obviously just garbage, right? I was the first one to sign up, so that's why it was there, and Iamsacul was the last one to sign up. But I will be in the losers round, and I will be playing the loser of the second match right there. So you'll see Styx, BW, and ZZTYU. And a lot of these matches have already occurred, and so as I get time, or as anyone is willing to do so, we'll be casting these and throwing them up on the internet for everyone to see, but mostly internally for the StarCraft Underground. If you're a part of StarCraft Underground and you enjoy this content or you enjoy being a part of the content, let me know. I am ManShark, and if you have any friends that play StarCraft, even if they aren't good, and if you're not good and you're in StarCraft Underground, you haven't signed up, sign up for a tournament, right? The more the merrier. As we do this, it's turning into a very cool community very quickly. So anyway, that's all I got. I'll see you next time. Bye.